What up, Vasti? What up, sad girl? Pull up. I appreciate y'all. I'm in the streaming voice channel on Discord if you guys want to jump in and talk too while I watch this. Yeah, more than welcome to come through and join in on the reaction. Vasti, we're actually watching the video you submitted on Discord. We're watching the Hello Kitty jump off. What's it called? Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty murder. I don't know how I forgot that. I'm excited. I'm excited too. I'll give it like 5-10 minutes. Let a couple people come in here and then we're gonna watch this. In the meantime, how y'all doing? How you guys doing? I appreciate y'all not only pulling up but also, you know, chatting, being engaging. Thank you guys. He said over here dying. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Are you feeling any better at least, or you feel like it's the same? Watching while munching on Oreos. You downstairs, Bussy? Or what are you doing? On the lap teasy? Oh, tell Sarai, pull up. Pull up. It said y'all both invited to my funeral. Don't say that. Do not say that. We don't want you to go away. You gotta pull up in the Hokage fit. You want the regular version, or can I make like a black version of the Hokage fit, like a new one? I think that would be dope. With the Naruto sad music playing in the background. Here lies sad girl. She was the shit. Rest in peace. She had some big old. Nah, let me stop. Niggas gonna be crying. No! It should have been me. It should have been me. Nah, I don't care who my friend is. I'm crying like a motherfucker at their funeral. I went to my one friend. Hey, Nessa. I went to my one friend's funeral. I thought I was gonna cry. Niggas was crying. It was a gangster cry though. It wasn't like no hysterical. It hurt. Like tears were coming down. It's crazy. Not the music again. Gotta play the music. Because I'd be crying. Yeah, that shit. I don't want to talk about funerals too much. I don't want to get all sad, but that shit hit, especially when it's your friend. Oh my god. Oh my god. Shane, what up, my boy? Nah, there's no funeral for sad girl. You know they can't kill me. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. How you guys doing? Nessa, let us know how you doing. How you doing? It's good to see you. I knew you was gonna pull up. I appreciate you being here. My boy Shane. I just got off of work not too long ago. I'm gonna do a reaction video to y'all. We're actually reacting to Vasti's video that she submitted in the Discord. If you guys want me to react to any type of videos in the Discord, there's a react channel that you can put whatever video you want, preferably YouTube. But we're usually doing like murder mysteries or like true crimes, stuff like that. I don't mind funny videos as well. I love funny videos and even horror videos too. Any scary things that y'all know of. All right, 10 o'clock. We doing this. Whoever misses it, fuck them. All right. All right. I'm fucking up. Is that how I wanted to do it? Technical difficulties. A lot of technical difficulties. 2 seconds. Boom. Should I have it like this? No. I should have it like this. Put the cam up here so y'all can see y'all, boy. You feel me? Still have watched the session 9. You think I should watch it on stream or just watch it in general? I'm gonna just watch it in general. I'm gonna watch that shit. I promise. I promise. All right. This one was submitted by Vasti. It's called The Hello Kitty Murder in Complete Detail. She told me about this before. I don't know what it's about, but she told me that this is crazy. So let's see. You guys ready? No? Yes? No? Even if you're not, fuck it.
In one of the most infamous crimes to ever come out of Hong Kong, a woman is held captive, severely mistreated, and eventually murdered. However, what made this case so infamous is how they treated her after the fact.
This shit is already heavy.
Got a packed schedule this fall and don't have much time to figure out what to cook? How about trying some more interesting food that's already chosen for you? With HelloFresh, you can try out a variety of global flavors, all from your own kitchen.
That ad came out of nowhere. I was invested.
All kinds of quick and easy recipes that take minimal prep time and don't require much cleanup.
Like, what HelloFresh got to do with the murder?
Come with clear step-by-step instructions on how to cook the food, and the ingredients are pre-proportioned, so you don't have to count anything out.
Nah, the way my boy put the meat in there. Pause.
Since it comes with every little thing you need. What I really like is the customization. HelloFresh even works with your schedule to send you meals exactly when you want them. You can change your meal preferences.
Alright, why am I watching this? I'm gonna skip this, y'all.
You can change your address easily on the HelloFresh app. For this video, alright, let me start off by saying that this is probably a case that you've heard about before.
Let me start off by saying, why does my boy look like AI? Hey, he don't look like a real person.
It's very infamous. But this is by far and beyond the case I've been most requested to cover. Since it's requested so often, I decided to dig deep into it as deep as I could and give it the whole in full detail treatment. I think that I'll be able to paint a picture as to how truly horrible it really is, and buckle up because it's just...
He definitely got the High School Musical going on, the background, the background High School Musical kid. The nigga that tried to beat Troy but didn't get it. Look, you ain't get the part, but we need you for the back. He was getting, he's getting it.
Disturbing. This is the story of a woman out in Hong Kong named Fun.
Not the bang.
Fun did not have the best life, to say the least. She was abandoned in her childhood, forcing her to grow up in an orphanage. However, this would only be until she reached the age of 15, as that orphanage had an age limit in place. Given that she was never adopted and had no place to live, she soon became homeless. Soon after that, she became addicted to drugs. Fan ended up having to resort to prostitution, working at a brothel to get by and even feed herself. When Fan Man-yi was in her early 20s, she was able to get a job as a dancer at the Empress Karaoke nightclub. She eventually fell for one of her clients, who was unfortunately another drug addict who only ended up enabling her. Despite this, they got married in 1996. Her husband, however, soon began mistreating her. Still though, she stayed with the man, and they actually had 2 sons together over the next couple of years. Their fighting only worsened though. The neighbors would often wake up to not only the sounds of the children screaming, but the sounds of the couple themselves screaming as well, as they argued all throughout the night. By early 1997, Fan had already started working as a prostitute again out at a brothel called the Romance Villa in Kowloon. After working there for a while, she ended up meeting a 34-year-old man named Chan Man-lok. Chan was said to have been a wealthy socialite.
Y'all keeping up with these names? Oh, what's that on my face? Y'all don't even tell me nothing. That's crazy. What was that? They trying to get me. But I'm having a hard time remembering these names. I'm not gonna lie. Okay?
Well known throughout the area. Fan was immediately drawn to him as she was a prostitute who was addicted to drugs.
So we got Fawn, her husband. He's mistreating her. And then there's a new man at the new club. Okay? And there's kids involved. Not the babies, but there's kids involved. It's crazy.
Drug dealer that also worked as a pimp. He would often pay her for long, all-night sessions where they would binge crystal meth, or ice, which he supplied. It wasn't too long before Fan was integrated into Chan's inner circle. She was there along with several of his little underlings, his henchmen, if you want to call them that. Chan Man-lok was a member of the Triads, a large Chinese organized crime syndicate. He wasn't someone to be messed with. Hell, he wasn't even someone you should associate with for your own safety. However, Fan got too comfortable around him regardless. One night, during one of their binges, she stole his wallet, gaining the equivalent of about $4,000 US. That would prove to be the biggest mistake of her life.
Oh no.
Chan found out about this and was furious. She agreed to pay him back with $4,000 that she was to earn from her work. He wasn't happy with this, though, and demanded $10,000 of interest. Fan stated that she would need a good amount of time to pay that interest off fully. Chan Man-lok was furious about his stolen money.
This nigga looks scary. Alright, why would you even steal money from somebody that looks like this? Look at the eyebrows. There's power in just the eye. This is crazy. So she took $4,000 from him, and he said, no, I want $10,000 on top. So he want 14 bandos for wasting his time. You said he's a ninja? It's a little racist. It's a little bit. The black sand is coming. That's crazy. That's for my ninja assassin watchers. If the black sand is there, you're done.
It wasn't even about the money, it was the fact that Fan even had the audacity to steal from him in the first place. In March of 1999, he got 2 of his men to kidnap Fan and take her back to his apartment on Granville Road. It was a massive apartment consisting of 5 bedrooms and was all decked out in Hello Kitty merch for some reason. Hello Kitty was on the curtains, on the bed sheets, adorning the walls, and there were even...
This is so random. No, it's not. It's called the Hello Kitty murder. But what the fuck? Not in my room. You tripping. They brought her to your room?
Plushies all over the place.
I'm weak.
Chen planned to pimp Fan out and force her to work non-stop until her debt to him was fully paid off. But
crazy.
He was never satisfied with any amount of money she would earn. He kept increasing the interest on her debt more and more until it became impossible for her to ever pay him back. There simply wasn't any way that she could keep up with the constantly spiking increase to the debt. So in addition to making her work even more, the gang started taking their frustrations out on her as well. They began to hit her and strike her repeatedly very often. She would often be so bruised and battered that she couldn't even work. Despite this, the group would continue to get high and subject her to even more beatings. They enjoyed themselves far too much while doing so, often laughing at her pain. This was when things got really out of hand, and you may be thinking it's already out of hand.
Yeah, I was literally thinking
You're
that.
right, but it's about to get much, much worse.
Oh my god.
The group that tortured Fan consisted of Chan Man Lok, the leader, Leung Wai Lung, a subordinate gangster of his who is said to have been either 19 or 21, and Leung Xing Cho, age 26, another one of his underlings. But there was soon one new member to that group, a 14-year-old minor named Ah Fong. She, although she had been reported to be one of the girlfriends of one of his underlings, ended up being a victim of Chan himself as he groomed her more and more over time. This girl, though, despite being very young and obviously manipulated, was ice cold herself. She very much enjoyed helping the group to mistreat Fan. She would even giggle and laugh hysterically while doing so. She took the opportunity to get creative and would even come up with her own ways to brutalize the woman herself. She was always ready and willing to join in. The group, unsatisfied at the amount of money Fan was bringing in, continued to mistreat her more and more. They tied her up, punched her, and kicked her all over. They would force themselves on her repeatedly, as much as they wanted. They even forced her to eat excrement. They started hitting her with metal bars, hit her and stabbed her with kitchen utensils, smashed pieces of furniture over her, and even tied her up in a standing position to use her as a punching bag. It got to the point that, one day alone, she ended up getting kicked in the head about 50 times. It has been said that Fan even got pregnant around this time, but the mistreatment continued regardless. When she was wounded, barely able to even move, the group would rub spices into her open wounds. To further ensure that she wouldn't be running away or moving much at all, they would burn her legs with hot candle wax repeatedly and even melt plastic over her legs. She was then forced to consume even more urine and excrement. The group would then force her to smile and say that she enjoyed all of these things. If she refused, they would just mistreat her even worse, getting even harsher with their punishments. All throughout this time, Fan's husband and kids wondered where she even went. They were left with nothing to do but worry about her and hope that she would come home. The group started getting more and more creative, utilizing anything they could find throughout the apartment that could possibly inflict pain, that could be used as a weapon. They would set plastic straws on fire and press them against the bottom of her feet until they were covered in painful burns and blisters. They would then hit her in the feet with sticks and whatever else they could find. All throughout this, they would throw chili oil onto her wounds and dump oyster sauce onto her face. They then made her drink the combination of oils afterwards. It was a game they played. If she didn't pretend to be happy, then they would beat her harder. They told her to smile while they burned her. It was a fun atmosphere, said Ah Fong. It got to the point where they started using Fan as a toilet, directly urinating onto her face and sometimes even into her mouth. If she spat any of it out, she was severely punished. Ah Fong once even defecated into a shoebox and forced Fan to eat it, which she thought was hilarious. The group started wrapping her with electrical wires and hanging her from a hook on the ceiling. They would then mistreat her in any way that they wanted, usually hitting her with iron bars and leave her there overnight. Eventually, they stopped feeding her entirely. The bodily fluids they would subject her to became her only form of sustenance. They continued to pack her wounds with dirt, spices, salt, and really anything else they could find to make sure that she never felt any sort of relief. Needless to say, after seeing the shape she was in, potential clients started refusing her services, meaning that she was no longer pulling in any money for the group. Fan would lie on the floor, starving, drifting in and out of consciousness, while the group hung out and watched TV or played video games. She was broken, and playing with her wasn't so much fun after that, but we carried on anyway. There wasn't really anything else to do, said Ah Fong. Ah Fong would gladly participate in any of the horrible things the group did to Fan, enjoying it all the way, admittedly laughing at everything that happened to her. It was for fun, she later said. The full details of what Ah Fong did herself have never been revealed, but it's undoubtedly a very long list, even by her own admission. One night, the group decided to go out for some drinks. To make sure that Fan couldn't escape, they did what they usually did. They tied her up and threw her onto the bathroom floor, locking the door behind them. This sort of mistreatment could only go on for so long. After about a month of this, on April 15th of 1999, Fun finally succumbed to her wounds and passed away, cold, alone, and in pain while her captors were out of the house.
That's crazy.
After a few days, the group came back to the apartment. Ah Fong stated that she had used the restroom. When she went into the restroom, she found Fun deceased on the floor. The men began to discuss amongst themselves. They needed a way to get rid of the body, but they couldn't decide on which method would be best. They even argued about what likely caused her death, obliviously most of them believing that it was probably an overdose that did her in. Most experts agree, though, as you can assume, that it was more likely the actual injuries that led to her death. So, deciding to put a pin in it for now, they decided to go to the arcade and play some video games, all while Fun laid in the bathroom. After a while, they came back home, went to sleep, and did nothing about the problem.
What?
The next day, while completely
These people
high,
crazy.
Chad came to a conclusion. He gathered up his little posse and told them now she must be destroyed. They put her into the bathtub and got to work with a handsaw. Once the body was divided up into more manageable portions, they cooked each piece to prevent further decay and to get rid of some of the smell, boiling the pieces on the stove. Chan woke up Ah Fong, who was sleeping, and waved a bag of guts in front of her. He told her to go put them into some hot water to stop them from smelling. Leung Xing Cho was in the middle of boiling the head himself and called Ah Fong over to come and look at it. She said that she was scared and didn't want to look, but he said it's okay, just pretend you're watching TV. She decided to give it a peek and decided that he was right, it looked like something out of a horror movie. Given that this had already taken 10 hours, the group started getting pretty hungry. How they could even get an appetite while all this is going on is maybe one of the biggest mysteries about this case, if you ask me. While boiling Fun's...
Oh my god. I need to pause real quick. Like, I was stuck. Because this is fucking crazy. Basti, what the hell? What? First of all, the fact that they were using the bathroom on her and then still taking advantage of her is wild. Like, that is so fucking disgusting. Like, why is there poop and pee and all this stuff involved? Nothing else surprises me after this. That's what I thought. Then it kept surprising me. Now they boiling shit on the stove. It's just like the other true crime was watching where the nigga had her in the oven and stuff. I don't understand why they think. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that stops the smell or anything like that. Wouldn't that make it worse? Because it's like when you bake weed, you know, you smell weed all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like when you do the weed oil and shit like that. Wouldn't it be the same thing with a body? I don't know. That's crazy though. This is a wild ass video, I see. Shit. This is some shit.
Head in a pot, stirring it ever so often, they decided to throw some noodles onto the adjacent burner.
Oh, my camera. It just took me into the abyss, y'all. I'm back.
Used the same spoon to stir their soup as they did to stir
So
the
they're
head,
obviously not bright.
alternating between the two. By the time their meal was over...
Wait, hold on. I missed that part. What did he said about the soup? The head soup?
Adjacent burner. They used the same spoon to stir their soup as they did to stir the head, alternating between the two.
What the fuck? So... Ugh. That's fucking disgusting. So there's the same spoon they use with the head. They're fucking eating soup with it? There's no way, bro. There's no way. There's no way.
By the time their meal was over, the head was now nothing but bone. They decided to take the skull and sew it into the head of one of their Hello Kitty plushies, a large mermaid one. This is obviously where the name of the case comes from. It's still unknown why they even decided to go through the trouble of doing this. Given how drug-fueled the whole operation was, it's safe to say that if there even was a reason, it might not make a lot of sense now. For unknown reasons, they decided to keep some other bits as well, namely a tooth and some organs. However, they disposed of the rest in the apartment complex's garbage. Things were quiet for about a month. It seemed that they had gotten away with all that they had done. That all changed 1 month later in May. Ah Fong made her way out to a local police station. She told the police that she was being haunted by a ghost, oddly enough. She told the police that this particular ghost had been tied up in electrical wire and murdered. The police, though, given that this was simply a ghost story, didn't take her very seriously at all. They brushed it off, assuming that she was just having nightmares or being silly. This was, however, until Ah Fong told them that she had played a part in the murder of this particular woman. This obviously changed things drastically. The police asked her for more details and eventually followed her out to where all the carnage took place, the apartment. This is where they discovered that her nightmares were very much indeed based in reality. Inside, she pointed them to the Hello Kitty mermaid doll, and inside they found the skull. The whole group was found, arrested, taken in, and taken to trial. Ah Fong, which likely isn't even her real name, by the way, it's likely a pseudonym given to her by the court system, decided to testify against the other members of the group. She told the police that she was Chan Man Lok's girlfriend, but she was also very likely one of his prostitutes as well. When asked why they had done all of this, she simply said, "I have a feeling it was for fun." This case quickly became a spectacle all throughout Hong Kong.
You have a feeling? Wasn't she the one sitting there laughing and shit? And helping and all? What do you mean you had a feeling? You snitching, you might as well tell the truth. You was in on the whole shit. What?
Most citizens had never heard of a case coming anywhere near this magnitude before. Being a pretty safe modern city, they couldn't imagine something so sinister going on so close by. One element of this case that fascinated them was the terrifying juxtaposition of one of the most grisly crimes they'd ever heard of meeting with one of the cutest icons they could think of. The mixture of horror and innocence stood out to a good amount of people. The trial would go on to last for 6 months.
Why?
Fong went on to testify in it.
Why? I don't understand. This should be a 2-day, 1-day trial. This is crazy.
Exchange for complete immunity. In order to placate Fung's ghost and finally get some peace, she spilled all the gritty details. Every single disgusting detail of every single disturbing thing that the group did. She said that this was in order to relieve her guilt and stop the haunting. During the trial, material evidence relating to the case was presented to the courtroom. This included the refrigerator where the body was kept, the pots used in the cooking, and the actual skull itself. It has been said that the stench radiated throughout the entire courtroom. Psychiatrists evaluated the 3 men, who went on to describe them to the courts as being completely remorseless. There was one massive roadblock to the case, though. Given the way that Fung's body ended up, there wasn't any clear, for sure reason to find out what actually had happened to her. They couldn't come up with a concrete cause of death, given the evidence that they had to go off of. It could have been from the abuse, or it could have actually been due to an overdose. As a result, the men weren't convicted of murder, but instead of manslaughter. The jury had come to believe that they had indeed caused her death, but they couldn't agree on whether or not there was intent. They couldn't rule out that the men did intend to kill her, but they also couldn't rule out that they didn't. There was...
Who the fuck is hiring these people to do these court cases and shit? They boiled the body. What are you saying? This, I don't understand. What up, Chris? Oh my god. Chris, you gotta see this video, bro. You gotta jump on stream. This shit's stressing me out. This shit's stressing me out. They put the head in a doll, and they talking about they don't know the intent. Nigga, jail. Well, worse than jail, honestly, because you know everybody be like, oh, put him in prison, put him in jail, but you don't really want crazy people like that in jail, honestly. Like, jail is technically for reform. Like, there's people that go to jail for like low grade shit, and imagine if you were one of those people going to jail for like a couple parking tickets you fucking forgot. Now you next to a nigga that boiled the nigga. You don't want them problems. Like, them niggas need to be put down for good.
Simply no way to know for sure. Despite all of the doubts and the charges being reduced to manslaughter, the court justice, Peter Nguyen, was having none of it.
Send him to the slaughter. Put him in the blender. For real. Put him in the blender. Oh my God.
In December of 2000, he sentenced the three to life in prison. Sadly enough, though, this sentence did come with the possibility of parole. It wouldn't be for 20 years, though. Never in Hong Kong in recent years has a court heard of such cruelty, depravity, callousness, brutality, violence, and viciousness, he said. The public is entitled to protection from people such as you. While if this had taken place in mainland China, all three would have likely been executed pretty swiftly, Hong Kong did not have a death penalty. Fan's husband came out and spoke of the sentencing. It seems that he was satisfied with them getting life in prison. He did, though, end by saying, "But how can I ever forget?" Ah Fong was released, free of charges, into foster care. It's currently unknown where she is now or how she turned out. The lawyers of the three men...
What? We gotta draw the line somewhere. We gotta draw the line somewhere. She's a minor, that's why. You said how? She's a minor. I forgot, she's 14 and she was doing all this crazy shit. Oh my God. She's dead ass free. She's probably still alive. That's like, she was 14 in 1997. So she's probably like 17 plus 24. She's 30. She's 41 right now. She's 41 years old, living life. Probably at the grocery store shopping, chilling, talking about her bills and shit. Bitch, what? Nah, bro. Nah.
Tried to appeal the case in 2003, but they had no luck. The sentence was upheld. Those three monsters weren't going.
Now I understand why they were like kind of lenient with her, because if a little 14-year-old girl is telling you this shit, you're probably not gonna believe it. And I don't blame them. They're like, what? Like, what you mean I was beating this girl up for years and you boiled her and what? Peeing and pooping, what? That's too much, bro.
Going anywhere. In 2014, the courts finally handed Fan's skull, the only remaining evidence of her body, over to her family, who had it cremated.
Wow.
The apartment building, located at 31 Granville Road, Tsim Sha Tsui, Hong Kong, where the murder took place, was eventually demolished entirely in September of 2012. After several years, in 2016, it was rebuilt as a hotel that still exists to this day. The actual location where the murder took place is now, by some dark irony, a restaurant. 20 years came and went, and in 2020 it seems that the trio never did get their parole, as there's no news out there of their release. That is, except for one of the men. The Yongxin Cho was actually...
He was the one boiling the head.
2014. It seems that his lawyer was able to appeal and convince the courts that there wasn't sufficient evidence against him. As you might assume, it wasn't too long before he was on the police's radar again. Just recently, in January of 2022, while he was working as a waiter, he groped the chest of a female minor, only 10. And even more recently, he was sentenced to 12 months in prison for that. So, as of the writing of this video, he is back in prison. Time will tell if they end up seeing parole in the future. There ended up being a few movies released throughout the years that told the story of this case. One of them was called Human Pork Chop with... My God, have some tact, come on. Another was called There's a Secret in My Soup. This case even became well enough known overseas that it was featured in an episode of Bones, an American crime drama. To this very day, Fan Nangyi's memory is kept alive every year when citizens of Hong Kong celebrate her life on her birthday with a candlelight vigil in the center of the city. Once again, thank you for watching my videos. If you found it interesting, please give it a like, it helps me out in the algorithm, and if you find content like this enjoyable, feel free to subscribe. If you don't mind, go ahead and follow me on social media. I mean, you know how YouTube is with content like this. If anything were ever to happen to this channel, that'd probably be the only way you'd ever...
I would appreciate you, my boy. Thank you for everything. Here's it, boom, boom, yep. That was crazy. That was nuts. I don't even know where to begin. Like that was nuts. Like I've seen some crazy videos, like true crime videos. This is probably the worst one thus far. Vasti, good job. Good job. You definitely submitted the craziest fucking one. Like this is that sounded like some Saw shit. And the thing about it is the fact that they enjoyed it the whole time is crazy. They wasn't even doing it out of like panicking or anything going crazy. Like they literally enjoyed. You're welcome, Vasti. They literally enjoyed torturing this girl, and that's sad. Like so much emotions while watching this video. Definitely sadness and remorse because nobody deserves that shit, especially not a mother, especially not any type of woman. The fact that there was multiple people in on this and nobody was like, yo, this is kind of nuts. Like, maybe we should stop. Nobody. Not even the 14-year-old girl. And she's, I don't want to, this sounds crazy. She is a minor. The thing is, young people, they don't understand consequences. So she's probably not understanding, like, this will impact me for the rest of my life. She's just doing it because other people are doing it. And that's fucking crazy. Like, I still think that even though it's a minor, that extent of a crime and to enjoy it and to do it for that long period of time, that person got to be locked away, throw away the key, melt that shit. Like, done. You feed that person through a hole. Like, I don't know. Like, that's crazy to me. Oh my God. The fact that there's people like this in the world, that's scary shit, man. That's really scary shit. Like at 14, you know what you're doing. I do feel like at 14, you know what you're doing, especially when it comes to something like this. I do feel like. But the thing is, it's not, they don't know what they're doing. They don't understand the consequences of what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel. Of course you know what you're doing. Like, mistake at 14 is, said a mistake at 14 is shoplifting. I'm fucking weak. Nah, this is crazy. This is nuts. Lassie, this is a dope ass video. Try to watch a video for y'all every Friday and react. Definitely submit more videos. I'm about to play some Call of Duty with my boy Chris. So I really enjoyed you guys stopping by. Thank you, Vasi. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Sad Girl. Thank you, Nessa. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, 10 out of 10 video for real. For real. 10 out of 10. Let's write that in the Discord. Give her props. 10 out of 10. It's crazy. That was a good ass video. One of the worst crime. Next one is one of the worst crime videos in complete detail. Vasi, before we ever watch that, do you think that one's worse? Do you feel like that one is more gruesome? The second video that you put, it says far from. Like, far from how it, like, this one's worse or the other one's worse? Far more worse. The other one's far more worse? Oh my God. There's no way. Chris, you here? Oh, this nigga Chris bounced. I'm weak. That's crazy. Like, I see why you chose the bear bad. Okay, gotcha. All right. It's bad. It's bad. Definitely. I'm choosing the bear over them people all the time. 100%. Fuck that. That's crazy. Would you rather be with a bear or 14-year-old Chinese or Hong Kong or Japanese or whatever she was girl? I'm choosing the bear. I'm choosing the bear. 100%. That's crazy. And I thought, like, it's crazy to know that, like, there's, like, serial killers and all that stuff like in other countries. Like, it gets bad. It gets bad. There's some bad ones in America, but in other countries it gets really bad. This is crazy. To do all that to one person, I'm still like stuck on that. Like, even like the most simple things that they were doing to her is like, what the fuck? What's crazy is you never really know who's next to you. That is true. You never really know. Like, the nigga next to you could have been boiling a nigga last week, boiling a nigga that morning. The bus driver, Nessa, the bus driver, could have been boiling a nigga. Now he pressing you for $2.90. But you a serial killer. But you boiling niggas. But I can't get on the bus for free. You never know, bro. People get on my nerves, bro. People piss me the fuck off. That's crazy to me. Eating body part soup, then going on a walk. I don't know why the walk killed me. Get some fresh air. That's crazy. Nah, this is nuts. But yeah, 10 out of 10 video. I'm gonna play. You probably called that nigga boss at the deli. Oh man, held the door for him and told him have a nice day. Oh man. I'll make sure to ask him if he did any of those things this morning. No, don't do that. Do not ask the possible. No, don't do that. You gonna be the soup next, okay? You. Yeah, it's funny. I'm sorry to laugh, but it was a fucking meme I seen on Instagram. It was like, you want to be put in the soup? It was just a nigga staring. Nessa, you gonna be putting some damn soup? You acting like that? Don't ask him that shit, please. He gonna look at you like, you wanna be put in the soup? You could be next. Put in that damn soup. I'm weak. Oh my god. And they were eating the soup with the noodles. The noodle soup. And they kept decaying and they kept eating it until it was bones. Like, that means that they were cannibals technically, right? Like, technically cannibals. But that's just straight sadistic. Like, I think that's past just being a cannibal and just eating somebody. That's just like, they were bugging. It's like sucking on the candy. You know when you're being real fat and you're in your last candy and you sucking on it, like, it's my last one. That's what they were doing. Yo, that's gross. That's just evil to the end. I think the devil's even like, yo, what the fuck? The devil's like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, that's crazy. That's why hell was made. 100%. Crazy. They're not welcomed in hell. I don't know where they're going. In the soup. I hope wherever they're going is soup. It's hot. Alright, y'all. I want to know what these people... Every time I'm about to get off, another comment comes up. I don't know what these people were like as kids. You know what? That's interesting. That's an interesting ass question. Like, what were they like as kids? Like, what the fuck went on in their lives for them to end up like this as adults? That's crazy to think about. It would be crazy if you find out that they had normal ass lives, mom and dad there, getting taken care of, not struggling, got time to think about putting people in soup. That's just crazy. Like, I don't know about y'all. Yeah, Lucifer is definitely shook. Definitely shook. That's crazy. My God. I'm kind of fearful of the next video. I'm not gonna lie. Let me see if Chris doesn't jump in my Discord right now. We're gonna jump in the next video. Wow. The Hello Kitty murder. And they kept a couple organs too in the Hello Kitty, and like some teeth, or like one tooth, something like that. I think one tooth. But they said that shit stunk up the whole courtroom. So they didn't even mind the smell after that. And the minor girl was sleeping over at the place. I want to know where her parents at. The fuck? Where's her parents? They lived in a giant apartment, so I think it's like floors. So they're probably on a whole floor themselves, or at least like facts. We're the neighbors. Did her parents not think she stank? I'm confused. Yeah, like I don't understand. And the thing is, they were doing things to her while she had doo doo in her mouth, doo doo residue or whatever. There was doo doo involved. Like them people probably smelled crazy. Their lungs are filthy. Definitely. I would have questioned it immediately too. Like, yo, what's that? What's going on? Imagine you smelled somebody and they stink and you thought it was their armpit. But it's really something else. Maybe she had no parents. True. She probably had no parents. Oh, yeah, she was put into foster care. After the court case, they said that. She was put into foster care. So I don't think she did have parents. Why you gotta type it like that? There ain't no way my child coming home smelling like actual ass. Not a black home. Not a black home. What? Smelling like outside? Smelling like shake that? Smelling like what? Basura? The nose going up. What's that? That's crazy. That is crazy. But smelling like butt ass. Said, girl, get out. Like, I really don't know how she was taking care of herself in there too. Like, I don't understand. I really don't understand. My question too is like, did they make her that way, or did she become that way herself because she seen it and she liked it, or she was just like, they were like, yeah, do this. They definitely was giving her drugs. Definitely giving her drugs. They said crystal meth was involved. Fucking, they was definitely drugged up. If they weren't drugged up and they was just doing this just to do this, that's another layer of crazy. That's wild. All right, I do not see Chris popping in, so let me call him real quick. Let me call him. I don't. So, who wakes up and decides to cook a human? Like, I don't think they wake up. I think the circumstances lead to that. To them thinking that they could put them on the stove and boil them in pots. Like, that's crazy. It's a regular Tuesday. The crazies. Definitely the crazies. Just girly thing. Nah, this is bugged out. This is bugged out. All right, let me see how long the other video is, and we might be able to watch the other video. Cause what the fuck? Oh, same channel. Watch Chris.
One of the most common.
Watch Chris pop up again. All right, I'm gonna watch this. Then we're gonna play some Call of Duty. All right. I don't think I'm ready for this. All right, y'all ready? Type I'm ready in the chat. I ain't starting it till y'all type it. I'm fucking with y'all. Let's do this.
One of the most common suggestions to make a video about, and one of the most common questions on Q&As that I get, is what is the most horrific case I've ever heard of? It's a case that I'm sure a lot of you have heard of by now, but I'm not sure if you've ever heard.
I'm scared. I'm scared already. I agree with you, sad girl. Shit, scared, shaking.
About it in complete, gruesome detail.
Hold on. This should make me thirsty. Let me get something to drink real quick. I'll be right back. It's crazy. All right. Gotta stay hydrated. All right. This one is called. Oh, I didn't even say the title. This one's called the Junko Furuta case in complete detail. I think I said that right.
This is the story of Junko Furuta, widely considered to be one of the worst crimes ever committed in human history. So for the love of God, please don't watch this if you're sensitive to extreme violence, especially the sexual variety.
Hold on. Trigger warning, everybody. Say it right now. Trigger fucking warning. I'm gonna give you 5 more seconds.
Trust me. Junko Furuta was a young woman who was born in Misato in the Saitama Prefecture of Japan. Her family consisted of a mother, father, an older brother, and a younger brother. She attended high school at a school in Saitama while working part-time at a plastic molding factory after school.
It's getting heavy, and my camera, every time the camera goes up, I'm doing the boom. It's heavy. It's real heavy.
She was saving up for a big graduation trip she was planning. She was all set up to start working at an electronics store after she graduated. She was fairly popular and well-liked by her classmates. She had great grades and was hardly ever absent. She was active, attractive, and attracted a lot of attention, which made some people jealous. She didn't drink, didn't smoke, and definitely never touched any drugs. This made her seem very lame in the eyes of the thugs around the school, the Yakuza wannabes. One of the boys in this group was named Hiroshi Miyano. He actually developed a bit of a crush on her and wanted to get physical with her. He proposed this and she refused. Hiroshi was a pretty big bully in this school, one of the only ones actually involved with the younger members of the Yakuza at the time. Usually, nobody dared defy him. He couldn't believe that Junko actually had the gall to turn him down. Hiroshi did not take this well at all. He couldn't believe that anyone would ever reject him. He took it as a complete and total insult. He got together with a few of his wannabe Yakuza buddies and they all hatched a plan to get revenge on Junko.
Who's Shorty?
They would get another one of their friends.
That was Junko? I'm
to
confused.
attack Junko, and
He
they
definitely looked like an anime bully. I was thinking the same thing. Definitely the nigga messing with our main character. Oh my god.
Hiroshi would come to the rescue. After he won a bit of her trust, they could take her wherever they wanted. On November 25th of 1988, Junko was riding her bike home from her part-time job when an unknown boy attacked her and knocked her off of her bike. The boy who liked her, Hiroshi Miyano, was conveniently across the street while the whole thing happened. He came to Junko's aid and scared off the random boy. He then offered to escort her home. Everything seemed to be going as planned. While Junko didn't actually trust him, it seemed better than the alternative of possibly being attacked again. She didn't have any idea that Hiroshi harbored any sort of hatred towards her. She wouldn't have imagined that he would be planning anything like this. Hiroshi took Junko into an abandoned warehouse and revealed his Yakuza connections to her. He then took his time raping her over and over. Then he took her to a hotel. In the hotel, he called his friends, Joe Ogura and Yasushi Watanabe. From then on, he and his three friends took turns assaulting her. Unfortunately, this was not their first time doing this, as they had just recently done it to another girl in the past few weeks. They decided that they were having far too much fun to just set her free again. There was also the possibility that she would call the cops and tell them what happened, and they couldn't have that. The next morning, Hiroshi took Junko to a nearby park, where Joe, Yasushi, and a fourth boy, Nobuharu Minato, were waiting. They learned Junko's address and used it to threaten her, telling her that they would kill her entire family if she tried to get away. The four teenage boys then took her back to Minato's parents' home, where they continued to assault her. This is where, for 42 more days, she would be held prisoner.
What the fuck?
On the third day that Junko was missing, her parents were dealing with the police, trying to get her found. Knowing this would happen, the captors made her call her parents and tell them that she had run away and was staying with a friend, safe and sound. She was forced to ask her mom to stop the investigation. They held Junko captive in the bedroom, forcing her to pose as one of the boys' girlfriend. It didn't take long for the parents to realize that this was a lie. Eventually, they dropped the whole girlfriend act altogether, as it was very clear that they weren't going to get in any trouble. Immediately after arriving at the home, the boys forced Junko into becoming their toy. They beat her relentlessly and raped her countless times a day, often taking turns. They were proud of what they were doing, regularly boasting to their friends that they had a woman trapped and ready for their personal use. They invited a load of their friends to come over and have their way with her. In the first few days, at least 30 of them raped her, and at least 100 knew of her imprisonment. Even women were invited to come see the spectacle, with a young girl even being invited to come over and see the prisoner, who then took a pen and doodled on her face. By the day 7 mark, Junko had been already completely stripped of all of her humanity. She was forced to be naked at all times and was constantly beaten and humiliated. They would shove her into the freezer for hours when they were bored with her, only pulling her out when they wanted to assault her again. Nobuharu Minato's brother and parents were living in the same house that she was being held in. His brother did nothing, aside from informing him that Junko might die at this rate. His parents were afraid to intervene, as they had seen Nobuharu's violent nature firsthand. They also knew of his association with the Yakuza and feared their possible retaliation. And most disgustingly, they worried about losing their good reputation in the community. After about 10 days of this torture, Junko's body was already starting to fail her. Because of the ongoing, endless beatings, so much blood had accumulated in her sinuses that she could no longer breathe through her nose. Her digestive system was also beginning to refuse food and water. If she attempted to eat or drink anything, she would instantly vomit. This also led to severe dehydration. Anytime she would vomit, her attackers would get angry and beat her even further. A vicious cycle that had no end in sight. When the nights got even colder, she was forced to sleep on the balcony of the home in extreme cold temperatures, sometimes near or below freezing. Eventually, one of the men that the attackers would invite over to the house to see Junko would go on to tell someone else about her, his brother. This brother of his ended up informing the police about what was going on at the Minato house. 2 officers were soon dispatched to go check things out. Minato's parents came to the door. When the police explained the situation, the parents simply responded that there was no girl in the house. The police took it at face value, thanked them, and left, without ever bothering to check even a single detail.
What? Who are hiring these people? We keep going back to this every time we see a fucking video. The police suck everywhere. They be saying these good cops, where they at? This is crazy. Shout out to the brother that called the cops on his brother, though. Shout out to that boy. You said, I hate that no one tried to help her. That's crazy. When they said the minor girl doodled on her head, it's like, what are you doing? Idiot.
After 20 days of torture, Junko was rendered completely unable to walk. She had had lighter fluid poured on her legs and set on fire, leaving her with severe burns. Her legs had also been targeted so severely during the beatings that they were left with severe muscle damage. She was unable to grip anything with her hands anymore, as they had been smashed with dumbbells to the point where her bones were crushed and her fingernails were shattered. Some nights later, the attackers got more rowdy than usual and ended up drinking too much. Junko took this as a chance to try to escape. She crawled down the stairs from the bedroom and reached the phone downstairs. She picked up the phone and began to call the police. The phone rang, and an officer picked up. Just as she was about to speak, Hiroshi came up behind her and grabbed the phone from her hands. He put the receiver to his ear and said, "I dialed by mistake," hanging up the phone. She was then pulled back into the bedroom. She was in complete terror, as she would obviously be severely punished for this. And she was correct. They punished her by holding her down and taunting her by waving a candle's flame all around her. Then they covered her entire body, mainly her legs, in lighter fluid and set her on fire once more. Afterwards, she started convulsing. The boys told everyone that she was faking it and set her on fire once again, only to put it out shortly after.
What the fuck?
Somehow, she survived. From this point on, she began begging her captors to just kill her and be done with it. They didn't bring her to hospital.
Thank you for the bits, Sarai. This is crazy.
A new way to torture her. The boys would hold her head against the concrete while the others would jump on it. One can only imagine what kind of pain and damage this would have caused. After about 30 days, Junko was no longer able to urinate properly. She had suffered severe damage to her genitals after they had been burned with cigarette lighters. She also had various foreign objects inserted into her, many sharp and jagged. Even fireworks had been inserted into her. The fireworks were not limited to only one orifice, as they were also inserted into her anus, mouth, and ears as well. She was left with eardrum damage so severe that she was nearly deaf at this point. Her hands and feet were so damaged that she could hardly move. At best, she could crawl. It took her over an hour to crawl to the bathroom. A later report showed that her brain size was greatly reduced by this point in time. Due to her hellish appearance, the boys no longer found her attractive. They used the same strategy again to abduct and gang rape another 19-year-old woman while she was on her way home from work.
Yo, these dudes are crazy. What the fuck? Yo,
during these 44 days of hell,
bro,
Junko Furuta.
We see the patterns. There's always the killers go to the court. The court don't do shit. They don't do dick. These niggas, I better see some kind of justice. I swear to God.
Was forced to withstand the most unspeakable torture and suffering that a person can imagine. Some of what was done to her includes being raped many times every single day, day and night, in all orifices. More than 100 men are believed to have raped her by the end. Sometimes she was raped by up to 12 different attackers in a single day.
What the
Constant
fuck?
humiliation. She was forced to be left naked most of the time. Many of the men who raped her also urinated on her. She was forced to pleasure herself in front of the attackers for their entertainment. She was beaten physically every day. She was beaten with golf clubs, iron rods, bamboo sticks, and various other objects. She had dumbbells dropped all over her body and her head stomped against the ground, face first. She had hot wax poured all over her face with a focus on her eyelids. Her eyelids were also burned with cigarettes and cigarette lighters. She was violated with a long list of various objects, shoved into all orifices, including but not limited to bottles, both broken and unbroken, iron bars, scissors, roasting needles, chicken skewers, and more. She was given only the strict bare minimum of food and water. At times, she was forced to eat cockroaches and drink urine. She had fireworks put into all of her orifices, leaving damage and severe burns. She had her left nipple ripped off by a pair of pliers. She would be tied up flat on the floor and had dumbbells dropped all over her body. The drops on her abdomen were so hard that it caused her to lose all control of her bowels. She was hung from the ceiling and used as a punching bag. She was shoved into a freezer and kept there for hours at a time. Her eyelids were burned with hot wax and lighters when she closed her eyes in fear. Her breasts were stabbed with sewing needles, the needles often being left inside. Her genitals were burned with cigarettes and lighters.
What the fuck?
She had a hot lit light bulb inserted into her vagina and moved around until it shattered. By the end, she looked like a completely different person after all of the damage. It was hard to even make out her facial features. Her body was severely damaged and crippled, and she smelled as if she were already rotting. She was continuously heavily bleeding from her genitals from all of the abuse. She wheezed heavily, struggling to breathe from all of the blood accumulated in her sinuses. On day 40, January 1st, Junko woke up to New Year's Day alone. She spent the day begging to be killed, completely unable to move. 3 days later, on the fateful day of the 4th of January, the boys challenged Junko to a game of Mahjong Solitaire and forced her to play. Somehow, even in her condition, she won the game. This infuriated her captors, who treated her to a severe beating with an iron barbell, and then poured lighter fluid all over her arms, her legs, her stomach, and finally her face, dumping lighter fluid even into her eyes. Then they put a candle to her face, igniting it all. She weakly attempted to put out the flames, but didn't have the strength to do so. This final torture lasted for a grueling 2 hours altogether. Already having been in horrible condition, Junko went into shock and finally died the following day.
Oh my god. What's good, Jem? That's crazy. What the fuck?
Minato's brother called him within 24 hours to inform him that Junko had died. The boys all rushed over to the house in a panic. Fearing what would certainly be a life sentence, or even a death sentence, the boys started to freak out. But they came up with a plan. The captors then put her body into a 55-gallon oil drum and filled it to the brim with concrete. A small bit of Junko's long hair was poking out the top of the concrete, something they apparently didn't notice.
God.
They disposed of the barrel at a construction site in Koto, Tokyo. Seeing that place now, you'd never imagine something like this was buried there. There was originally a good chance that the police would never find out who did this. There weren't any clues to go on. Luckily, Hiroshi is a moron. While he was being questioned by the police 2 weeks later involving their recent gang rape of the unrelated 19-year-old woman, he got confused and thought the police were talking about Junko, as the cases were so similar. And thinking that one of the other boys must have already confessed, he spilled the beans. He realized his mistake,
Good
but
for
it was
his
already
dumb
too
ass.
late, and he told the police where they had hid the body. Joe Ogura had already been arrested for another unrelated sexual assault case. He was quickly also arrested for Junko's case as well. The other boys were then arrested within the next few days. Later, the drum was finally opened and the concrete was broke open, revealing Junko's long-deceased body in a nightmare-inducing, horrific condition. Junko's family was notified and told of what happened to her in detail. When her mother heard the details of what was done to her, she fainted. She ended up in a long-term stay in a psychiatric hospital. An autopsy was performed on Junko, revealing the true horror of what had happened to her. Small baubles were found still stuck in her rectal cavity, and it was revealed that she was pregnant, although the damage to her uterus was severe.
What?
Her face was so completely mutilated that she had to be identified by her fingerprints. Being that they were juveniles, the court withheld the names of the 4 captors. But journalists from Shukan Bunshin magazine were able to find out exactly who they were and published the names of all of them, stating that they were inhuman and therefore didn't deserve human rights.
Deadass. Thank you.
This. As we know, they were Hiroshi Miyano, 18 at the time, Joe Ogura, also 18 at the time, Nobuharu Minato, who was 16 at the time, and Yasushi Watanabe, who was 17. All 4 of these monsters were caught and sent to trial. During each trial, it was pretty common for onlookers to pass out upon hearing the details of the case.
That's...
Even with all that they had done, they didn't really show any semblance of remorse. And despite all of this, they received extremely light sentences for such horrific crimes. They were actually still being tried as juveniles, but after much backlash, they were...
Didn't I fucking predict this? Here comes the bullshit, y'all. We all know these niggas deserve to burn. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if they're juveniles. I don't care. This is crazy. Let's hear the bullshit. Here comes the bullshit. I can't do it.
Changed to adult status. Still, after being upgraded to adult status, they received unbelievably light sentences. Something that, to this day, continues to enrage people who hear about this case.
Oh my god. Here comes the bullshit.
The boys, somehow, were not charged with murder. Instead, they received a charge called causing bodily injury resulting in death. In Japan, the juvenile court system is far more focused on rehabilitation rather than punishment. Something that you'll remember if you saw my Yu-Gi-Oh! Yamaji video. Usually this means that juveniles will end up getting relatively very low sentences. Hiroshi was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Minato got a 5 to 7 year sentence himself.
What?
Watanabe got 9 years, and Joe got an 8-year sentence. One sad thing is that these monsters actually received even lower sentences than that at first. They were only increased to the still low amount after an appeal. It was so low that some people even questioned if their Yakuza ties were to blame for this. By the time of this recording, every single one of the 4 boys is out of jail and living free. 3 of them were in jail for less than 8 years. Hiroshi, the ringleader, was sentenced to 17 years originally. He tried to appeal, but as kind of a fuck you, the judge actually upped his case to 20 years. The same thing happened to 2 of the other boys, and after seeing enough, the 4th boy decided not to try to appeal. However, they all ended up getting out long before those sentences were actually up. And I bet you're wondering if they continued to commit crimes after they got out of jail.
Wait.
Well,
it's a yes.
Let's see.
It's a motherfucking yes.
Got out of jail, he changed his first name to Shinji. He did this for obvious reasons. In 2006, he got married to a woman from Romania and had a daughter together. They soon divorced, and the wife ended up with custody of the child. Minato couldn't stay away from murder for too long. He was eventually arrested again for the attempted murder of a businessman. The man had noticed Minato staring at him, to which he asked, "What are you looking at?" Minato came over and punched the man. The man then got out of his car and a fight ensued. It escalated to the point that Minato took out a baton and beat him severely. As the victim tried to get back into his car, Minato slashed his neck with a knife he had hidden. The police were called at some point and they rushed to aid the victim. In the chaos, Minato escaped. He was soon caught and arrested. He denied attempted murder, saying he only intended to beat the man. The case is ongoing. Joe Ogura was released in August of 1999. He also ended up changing his name to Joe Kamisaku. He actually had the goal to brag about his role in the kidnap and torture. His father had vowed to give their entire life savings to Junko's family out of shame. But Joe ended up taking this money and using it for himself to live a fairly extravagant lifestyle. Joe's mother wasn't much better, as she actually vandalized Junko's grave, saying that it was Junko who ruined her son's life. Joe actually managed to find some women to date him. He ended up marrying a Chinese woman, but the marriage didn't last too long. Afterwards, he started
We gotta
dating
pause right
another
there,
woman.
because what did... The mom was tripping. The mom was tripping. Everybody's tripping. But what do you mean? Like, how you go out your way to go to the grave to desecrate it and say that she ruined your son's life? Like, that's crazy.
He went back to prison in July 2004 for 7 years for beating a guy he thought was luring his girlfriend away from him. He had kidnapped and beaten the man for 4 hours. He proudly told the victim that he had killed before and would do it again. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison. But in 2009, he was once again free, and he is still free to this day. The ringleader, Hiroshi Miyano, went right back into his previous gang activity immediately after being released from prison. He was arrested for fraud at some point after this, but didn't see jail time for it. Right now, it seems that he's living a fairly normal life. Some might even say a good life. He is a regular patron at a local kickboxing gym and appears to have a normal social life. As of now, Yasushi Watanabe is the only one of the 4 boys who hasn't been arrested since. Because of that, it's not really known what he's been up to. Since the investigation first started, the police have been able to get DNA from the sperm and pubic hairs found in evidence to link several more criminals to the crime,
Please.
including 2 men named Koichi Ihara and Tetsuo Nakamura, both of whom were arrested, and there are probably many others who have not been revealed to the public. It is unknown if they will all face any sort of charges. Time will tell. So there it is, the worst case I've ever heard of. I get this question a lot, and it's just always this one. There are a couple of others that come kind of close, but it's really hard to top something like this. I mean, you've got the brutality, the length, the scale. I mean, just... So asking if you like this video seems a little bit fucked up. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It helps me out. Although I doubt this video is going to really be pushed. But yeah. If you like dark content like this, be sure to subscribe. I do.
That was crazy. Let me see some of these comments real quick. If you're This person does make a fucking good point. It says if your unproblematic daughter who's usually a good student, well liked by her friends and doesn't cause any trouble, suddenly calls and says, I ran away and I'm living with friends, don't look for me, I'd shake the sky and earth looking for her, because that in itself is extremely suspicious, and I would 100% think she is in severe danger. Dead ass though. Like, first of all, hold on, why you at somebody's crib? This is why Haitian parents, they don't let you stay at nobody's crib. You ain't got your own house? Fuck out of here. Where you at? Right now, where you at? Like, this is crazy. Like, oh my god. Let me tell you something, I'm gonna be real with y'all. This story was so sad that it made me, I understand why I picked the bear. Vasi said that I'd say that. I understand why I picked the bear. This is fucking crazy. This is nuts. Like 100 niggas. Like you said, nobody was like, yo, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. The one brother did, but he wasn't involved. He just heard about it and was like, nah, this ain't it. Shout out to him. Amazing dude for doing that. but the 100 other people that was doing it, like going inside the crib, definitely L parents, the fucking parents that are scared of their son. What? Are you kidding me? You see your son doing it? I mean, I don't think they were scared. They were just they were borderline in on it. Ain't no scared, because she went to the grave and started doing all types of nonsense. I don't know what the fuck the father was doing. I don't know what was going on, but the fact that they were able to bring that much dudes in and out the crib to do shit like that, and even females sometimes and all that, that's crazy. And then talking about the sentencing was so fucking light. They need, this whole minor thing is out of pocket. Like, you know what you're doing at that age. Like, these niggas ain't even like 14, 13, even if they were. But they 17, 18, like, come on. Niggas is driving, niggas is drinking, niggas is doing all types of shit. Like, nah, B. Like, that's crazy. The fact that they definitely didn't have no remorse, but like how they tried to hide the body is crazy too. Oh my god. Man, that man's mother needs to go to jail. Agree. 17 is old enough. They expect you to choose a college, your future career. You can even start gearing up to go to the army. You know what I mean? Definitely old enough. You could join, yeah, a vote. Exactly. Like, that's crazy. I don't understand. Like, and that's a smack to the face of like the community and like everybody around. Like, you giving them that light of a sentence because they're a kid. Like, that's fucking crazy to me. Knowing what they did, like going into detail, like the light bulb shit, that shit was like, what the fuck? Everything was what the fuck, but that light bulb shit was like, nah, this is out of pocket. Like, this is out of pocket. I don't know. You know how people say eye for an eye, blah, blah, blah? I believe in eye for an eye. Sorry, excuse me. I don't give a fuck. You do some shit like that, you deserve that shit right back. Like, that is crazy. If you do something that bad and you continue to do it, you deserve that shit back. Like, I feel like that eye for an eye shit was said by fucked up people who are too pussy to receive what they give. Fuck you. You deserve that shit back times 10. I don't care. You punch somebody, you're probably gonna get punched back. Like, this situation, they need to receive that shit right back. That's crazy. They shouldn't, yeah, you shouldn't even get the chance to reform. Like, they're living normal lives right now, and it's like ticking time bombs. You never know when these people could just be like, all right, fuck it, I'm going back to doing, or they just can't control themselves. It's just like, that's just how they react to situations. Like how he slit the dude's throat. Like he didn't start the whole fucking confrontation. Yeah, they're not shoplifting, they're not robbing people. They dead and murdering and doing all this crazy stuff to people. That's crazy. Oh my god. I don't know, man. I don't know. Uh-oh, camera's off. Goddamn. Alright, we back. We are back. I definitely got to react to this, Vasti. This is not a 10 out of 10 out of 10 video. This is a what the fuck out of 10 video. Still good stuff, Vasti. Shit. This is what you be watching? This is what you and Soraya be watching? The fuck? Definitely a what the fuck out of 10 video. Alright, I'm gonna let it rock there. Me and my sis gonna take a little smoke break. And I'm gonna get on Call of Duty. Chill with y'all for a bit. Definitely stay tuned. Gonna get on Call of Duty. Probably gonna get on there for a couple hours. You know what I mean? Camo grind, all that good stuff. I want to say thank you. Thank you to Vasti. Thank you so much for putting those reaction videos in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord already, please join the Discord and put some videos you'd like to see me react to. We can watch together. You know what I'm saying? Amazing videos, Vasti. Thank you. Those really shocked the shit out of me. You said they would, and they definitely did. Thank you, Sarai. Thank you, Sad Girl. Thank you, Nessa. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, everybody that popped up. Gemini. Thank you, my boy. Anybody else that's in here that's not chatting, appreciate you guys. I'm gonna try to do these every Friday. So tune in every Friday. 2-hour limit. We're gonna do a little reaction video. This one was a kind of short one, but definitely gonna do some more. Appreciate y'all.
Peace.